Hi trader, welcome to the weekly Forex overview. My name is Chris and this video is brought to you by Admiral Markets. I'm taking a look at bullish targets on the euro dollar, pound dollar. More on that in just a second. First of all, this video is shown to a global audience but may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence and contact an appropriate entity to find out if it is suitable for you. Also, please note that trading foreign exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar video is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Let's kick off with the pound USD daily chart, and the pound is a bit complicated in the sense that price did make a strong momentum to the downside here, good retracement of about 500 pips, bounced at 127.50 quarter level, and is now making a retracement perhaps. So price has bounced basically also at the long-term moving average and is still above the long-term moving average. So from this point of view, there could be reason to expect an uptrend continuation. However, if you look at the larger market structure perhaps, you can see that overall this is more of a correction and therefore price might be in a reversal back down. And from that point of view, it's really going to be interesting to see if price breaks above 132.50 or 127.50. I know that is very long-term thinking at this moment, but from my point of view, those are the key levels. The bottom break would indicate that there is a good chance of price falling down to 125 and then even down to 120 eventually, right? And testing this bottom basically, retesting this bottom. But to break above this resistance, I think there's a good chance of going to 135. Now that might not help so much for this week's trading, I know, but I just want to be aware that overall, this zone is a bit of indecisive moment, indecisive price action point. So if price gets up to, for instance, this level, 130 or 131, I think that could be a bouncing spot and that could be a target for any longs. Why? Because if you look at this level here and here, I think there could be an inverted, or no, not even inverted, a normal head and shoulders pattern like this. A left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. So 130, 131, also if you put a fib from the top to the bottom, right, you can see that that's a 50 fib, that's a 61.8 fib zone. So those are golden ratios, and if you look at the 4-hour chart from a wave perspective, not everyone likes wave patterns, but from a wave perspective, I think that there could be 5 waves visible in here, right? So you can see a wave 1, 2, a wave 3, 4, 5. That's pretty clear. So what I'm expecting now is an ABC correction, all right? So from that perspective, I think that price ABC like this, we can even zoom into lower time frames, and you can see on the hourly chart that 5 waves have been completed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is probably a wave A. Now I'm expecting a 3-wave down for wave B, and I expect the price to bounce at the 50 fib with the weekly pivot point and the long-term move average, perhaps the 61, maybe even the 78.6 fib or 88.6 fib. But honestly, I think the 50 is the most likely candidate, probably the second most likely down in here because of the deeper fibs and the weekly S1. So 3 waves down, a move down to the 23.6 fib, a bounce, and a move down to the 50, and then a bounce with 5 waves up again towards that bigger head and shoulders resistance area at 130, 131. That's what I'm expecting for the upcoming week. But keep in mind that all of this price action, 5 waves down, 3 waves up, on the daily chart is still pretty choppy. It is pretty indecisive zone. So if price were to break above 130, 131, then the uptrend is probably continuing and there could be a move to challenge this top. And if it breaks that top, then there could be a continuation of the uptrend. So we've got to take it step by step. If it breaks the bottom, of course, if price hits this, then it starts to move down like this and it starts to break the bottom, then, you know, my opinion, it's in a downtrend. We'll be keeping an eye on the pound and other currency pairs. I'll continue with the euro dollar and dollar yen in just a second. But please be aware that there are live webinars taking a look at the Forex market, CFDs, commodities, stock indices on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Thursday, I take a look at waves and fibs. And for those that are wondering how about Nenet, he's back on Monday with, I believe, or Tuesday, with his session recap and, of course, more webinars next week. All right, the dollar yen is in a range. As you can see, price is in between the red and the blue zones. And you can see the price it has difficulties breaking through this support level and is basically trying to test these levels. I do think that, considering the strength of this support level, there's a good chance that price could still bounce at this zone. But if it does break below 108.50, if I remember correctly, break, pullback, continue, then there could be a small continuation down to retest this trend line at around, well, let me check to be precise. depending, of course, where price reaches this area, but around 106, 106.50, and that could be a small breakout there. If it does bounce, there's more space up to about 112.50, and then even 115, 114, 115. So basically, a break above 110 could indicate the bullish break. So let's take a look at that. You can see R1, two tops. So we need to see basically price break above that, hook back, and continue for an upside breakout on the dollar yen. And that might happen. Of course, later this week there is NFP and unemployment rate on Friday. But in those 4 days, there could be a breakout. Price could also just go sideways and continue with this this channel like this and just go sideways. But ultimately, if it breaks above the R1, I think there's a good chance of it going to R2, then to R3, and then even further to the upside. That's a good breakout to the upside. Sorry. And if it breaks below the blue zone and the S1, there could be a break, pullback, continuation to the downside. So dollar yen in a range, but the euro dollar not. It's in a strong uptrend, and saw some good upside on Friday. Pound dollar saw some good upside on Friday too, but that was a reversal. That looks like an ABC correction, whereas the euro dollar is actually a different structure. The euro dollar actually was an uptrend. Very simply, you can see it on the 4-hour chart, and you can see that pretty clearly. Let me get rid of this fib. I'm not sure what that's doing there. All right, so you can see it pretty clearly, uptrend. Most recently, there was a bull flag and then a triangle, and price broke above both. This was the break of the bull flag, and this was the break of the triangle to the upside. And that's something that my wave analysis was also indicating. Look for upside. This is choppy correction, uptrend. Look for a turn and a break, and that's what happened finally on Friday with the trend. And price almost reached 120. So there could be a small push left. You can see that there's good momentum. So I think that a retracement here, a shallow retracement, is possible somewhere towards, for instance, 119, 118.75, weekly pivot point, and then a continuation up to 120, the R1 and the -2 target. That is something that could cause a big correction. It is a round level. So got to be aware that 120 is a decisive point, a decision level, and there could be a big correction. And it doesn't mean that price will not continue with the uptrend. What could happen is big correction, and price later on breaks above that correction, and it continues with this uptrend up to 122.50. But you don't know that for sure. It could hit the 120 and start to make a very deep momentum, strong bearish momentum and a very deep pullback. So I need to see the pattern that emerges at the 120. If it's a continuation pattern, fine. The uptrend is still valid, and there's a good chance of continuation after that pattern finishes. But if there's a zigzag pattern or a strong reaction, bearish momentum at the 120, then the bullish perspective is weakening for the moment. So I think one more higher high is possible. Price got very close to 120 here, but one more push to create some divergence between these tops, I think, is likely, and then we'll have to see, question mark. We'll update this analysis on Tuesday and Wednesday as we go along, and we'll know more throughout the week and next week about that. But one more push up was good. Here, this break was good. So those were good upside trades within the trend. All right, for more information about MT4 Supreme Edition with all those extra tools, some of them you saw on my chart, check out admiralmarkets.com and go to platforms. And of course, you can find out more webinars, more articles, more analysis as well. Wish you all great trading. Talk to you soon. Cheers.